Good evening, everyone. This meeting is being held in accordance with the schedule of meetings adopted at the organization meeting held January 6, 2020. Adequate notice of this regular meeting of the Kenilworth Board of Education has been provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the local source. A copy has been filed with the Kenilworth Borough Clerk, posted in the board office, the Kenilworth Borough Hall, the Brilliant Harding Schools as provided by the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting time has been changed to 6:30 and the meeting location changed via notice on September 9th, 2020. This will be an in-person meeting. Due to the recent announcement by Governor Murphy, participation will be limited to 25 individuals. The Board of Education therefore estimates that 12 members of the public will be able to participate in person this evening. In an effort to encourage and increase public participation, the meeting will be live streamed and the public will be able to view via YouTube live stream. The link will be available at 6:30 p.m. by clicking on the Watch the Meeting Live icon on the Kenilworth Board of Education homepage. Public comment will be accepted only during the public comment period of the meeting in person, via email at publiccomments@kenilworthschools.com, or by calling 908-931-9696, extension 2325.
Okay, can everyone please rise to salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have a roll call, Mr. Canales. Sorry, Vince.
Biner. Here. Braun.
Here.
David.
Here.
Drogan.
Here.
Haberther. Here. Jankowicz.
Here.
Ladati.
Here.
Panici.
Here.
Zimmerman. We have quorum.
Okay. Thank you very much. Our first item is receiving of the minutes of the secretary from August 10th, 24th, and 31st, 2020. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion made by Dr. Panici. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Biner. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, so moved. Minutes are approved. Next item is reading and acceptance of our monthly correspondence.
The only correspondence we have are the public correspondence that was read at last board meeting. I included those in correspondence as well as in the official minutes of the Board of Education on the August 31st meeting.
Okay. Can I get a motion to accept the communications for the month?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion
Second.
made by Mr. Ladati, second by Dr. Panici. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So moved. We are up to our superintendent's report and presentations.
Good evening. I'd like to start by thanking our entire school community for a successful launch into the 2020-21 school year. While each summer is usually filled with thorough planning for the upcoming year, this summer was quite unprecedented. The hard work of faculty and staff, leadership team members, our technology department, our school nurses, our building and grounds crew all shone through and seemingly paid off on these opening days. As a result of everyone's collaborative planning, we had a relatively smooth opening to the school year. We found students to be compliant with our health and safety measures and teachers committed to making sure this school year works. While there are obvious anxieties around our return to school, I would be remiss if I didn't highlight that there is also general excitement and appreciation too. I got to welcome students into Brearley this morning and into Harding over the last few days. And while it's hard to see students' faces under their masks, it's easy to see that they're smiling. I want to ensure the board and community were actively collecting feedback about our reopening plans. We should obviously expect a discrepancy between what we planned for and what's actually happening as part of our reopening. As such, we're remaining nimble and responsive. What's working will continue, what's not will change if we can. So we ask that you please be patient as we assess and tweak the procedures and protocols necessary to promote a healthy and safe school year. We're also committed to growing our teaching and learning this year too. While instruction may look different, we're still on a path to work through curriculum and instruction obstacles and technology glitches to advance achievement. I'm asking for your patience as we refine those practices too. I'd like to switch gears and share with you a report of our school safety data system from last spring. The information for this report is in the blue folder before you. We're required, as you know, to report out publicly these results twice a year as part of the data collection's 2 reporting periods. Tonight, I'll share results from the second look-back period, January to June of 2020. So in the first graph you see before you and on the projector there is the data for the second reporting period across the last 3 years, with the orange bars representative of the data from January to June of 2020. I'll give you a chance to look at that for a sec and juxtapose it to that next page in there too. This chart has the raw data that was used to populate the preceding graph. You'll also see what's counted as and considered violence and vandalism. Keep in mind, we were not physically in school for a good portion of this reporting period as a result of last spring's distance learning. What probably stands out to you is an uptick in HIB cases. Last spring, I shared possible reasons for that with the curriculum committee, which, as you know, is the BOE committee that participated in a handful of HIB hearings last year. I'll address that more in a bit. The next chart is a breakdown by building on information from the 2 previous slides. So you'll be able to see the cases that came from Harding versus Brearley, and the number from each building that contributes to the composite scores that make up the graphs. I'm thinking you'll agree that the data doesn't mean much unless we reflect on it, so it should be shared widely. I'll be meeting with the principals later in the week, and a review of this data is on the docket for discussion. I believe there's some power in taking ownership over these findings at many different levels. So I'll be suggesting that they be shared with the committees that are listed up there, as well as others that they identify. Finally, at its root, an uptick in HIB, this is my opinion, is or has its roots in culture and climate. So I'm hopeful the extension of our 7th grade cycle focused on social emotional learning will help to combat this uptick. Also, looking at our HIB self-assessment scores and the areas for growth on which we self-report should also help address the SSDS data that we feel we can improve upon. We'll be posting this presentation on the website. However, President David, I'm happy to address any questions from the board now. Seeing none. Okay, before we move on to the reports of the committees, I'd like to share some information on a new agenda item, which is Resolution 32, and it highlights the retirement of Mrs. Grimaldi.
Big loss.
Mrs. Grimaldi has been a teacher in both Harding and Brearley schools for the past 38 years. In the short time I've known her, I found her to be kind, devoted to kids, and her teaching craft. In informal visits to her classroom, Mrs. Grimaldi was always happy to see me, welcoming, and eager to have her students explain to me what they were busy learning rather than telling me herself. I appreciate her commitment to Kenilworth and her dedication to the profession. I know I've said this before, but I swear I mean it. We'll be sure to add Mrs. Grimaldi to the list of individuals to properly honor when her family and colleagues can join in the celebration at a future meeting. I promise we're keeping track of that list. I know Mrs. Grimaldi affected the lives of and will be missed by many. So, Candace, thank you for your years of service. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Arlington. And just one thing on behalf of the board, I would really like to commend and thank Mr. Arlington, Mr. Ganella, the administration, the teachers and staff, the parents, the kids, for what turned out to be, I think, a good decision to open our schools in person and for how things have gone off up to this point. So again, thank you and great job, everyone.
Thank you, President Daly.
Okay, we are on report of committees, review of resolutions, and board discussion. And first up is Finance and Facilities. Mr. Ladati.
Thank you, Mr. David. For my report, just to continue on what you were saying, Mr. David, I would just like to acknowledge the hard work of the Supervisor of Buildings and Ground, Drew Vanderzee, and his crew. They put a lot of work in over the summer trying to get the school ready and open and prepare for the students to come back. They installed barriers in the bathroom. Just a few things I want to mention. Changed the towel and soap dispensers to touchless units. Social distance signing. They moved furniture around. They installed hand sanitizers throughout the building. And most of the work with the UV units, including cleaning, filter changes, inspections of the outside dampers, installation of 150 I-Wave units into the existing HVAC units, changing of the garbage cans to touchless models, and just for a ballpark approximate, I think they saved the district at least $35,000 just in the HVC work, JJ. So I just want to congratulate that effort. Because basically, without their efforts, we wouldn't be able to open. For resolutions, there are a total of 10 tonight for your consideration. As the finance chair, I recommend approval of each. Resolutions 1 to 3 includes the superintendent's report, which was just delivered, along with the bill list and financial review. The bills and payments are proper, and the financials, as reported, are in order. There were no line item transfers, which is number 4, over $5,000. 5 are the workshops. 6, if you reviewed it, are the superintendent merit goals for 2021. 7 is the school safety data report. 8 is an agreement and affiliation with Kane for interim nursing services. Basically, it's clinical experience for their nursing students. 9 is the critical emergency plan. That plan is to protect students, staff, and to have the school community to work together if such a crisis occurs. Mr. Ganella provided you with an update on 9/11. Finally is the food service bio plan. Again, that's policy and procedure to reduce the risk of intentional contamination and a plan to fix should an incident like that occur. That's basically all I have, Mr. David.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Ladati? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to personnel and management. Mr. Haverton.
Good evening, everybody. There are 18 resolutions tonight. Resolution 11 is the acceptance of a resignation of an aide. Number 12 approves the hire of a 4th grade elementary teacher. Number 13 is a leave replacement for maternity leave. 14 and 15 are revised maternity leaves of absence. 16, 17, 18, and 19 approve the salaries for the 2020-2021 school year for teachers, secretarial staff, custodial staff, and aides. Let's see. 20 and 21 approve extracurricular and athletic stipends for the school year. 22 is the approval of volunteer coaching. 23 is the approval of paraprofessional staff for the school year. 24 is summer professional development approval. 25 and 26 are the approval for unused vacation and sick days. 27 is the approval of, 27 is the approval of substitute staff. And Resolution 32, as Mr. Arlington just mentioned, is the acceptance of the resignation retirement for Mrs. Grimaldi.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Haverford? Okay,
Thank you.
seeing none, we can move on to curriculum and instruction. Mrs. Zimmerman was not feeling well this evening, so she's not here. Does anyone have anything for curriculum and instruction? Anyone on the committee want to at least just briefly go over the resolutions, maybe?
Greg, you want me to? I'll do it.
Yeah, that's fine. Mr. Bonner, please.
Okay, resolutions, it's 28, 29, 30. Number 28 is a sports co-op agreement with Jonathan Dayton in Springfield. Number 29 is a curriculum adoption, and number 30 is the HIB report. And that's the 3 of
Very
them.
good. Thank you, Mr. Bonner. Anyone have any questions on the resolutions under curriculum? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to policy review. Mrs. Braun.
There's only one resolution for policy review. It's Resolution 31, second reading to adopt the Restart and Recovery Plan, full-time remote instruction.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions on that policy? Okay, seeing none, we can move on to our old business. Does anyone have anything under old business?
I guess,
Mr. Ladati?
just two things. Mr. Ganella, any status on the temporary classrooms, or?
We've gotten two engineering reports, and they're conflicting right now, so we're trying to ascertain how to proceed from there.
Okay. Because we could use the space, right? Or
Well, fortunately, right now, we're using the space for storage.
Okay.
So, you know, yes, we could when we go live, fully live.
And I guess the other question is just the fence on 14th Street and the Boulevard, is that?
Mr.
gonna get-
Vanderzee's getting a couple of quotes for that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Anyone else under old business? Okay, seeing no one, I'll move on to new business. Anyone have anything under new business?
I want to say, parents that I did talk to, one of them kept their son home and is happy, but the other ones were thrilled that we did open the school. Thank all of us for voting for that. Just want to put that out there.
Thank you for that. Mrs. Drogan?
You know, Mr. David, I do have one more question. On the
Yes.
stipends, are we still going to be, have to pay, if something doesn't occur, like a play or football season or whatever, is the state still making us pay for those items?
Yes. So if you look at the
I saw that, yeah.
the athletic stipends, you'll see that there's a qualifier in there, pending completion of negotiations. We've asked the association to discuss that topic with us regarding specifically the assistant coaches. We've already hired the, I'm sorry, regarding the assistant coaches, we've already hired the head coaches
Right.
prior to this, and we're committed to fully funding that because they've been working since August. The assistant coaches technically will be starting tomorrow, and our concern is that if the season is cut short for whatever reason, that we be responsible. So we asked the association to discuss that. Whether they do or not, that's still up for a determination. Regarding the other stipends, both building principals have reviewed them. You will see that there are some omissions that we typically have because we feel that certain activities cannot be done either in person or virtually in a COVID world, so to speak. So there's some glaring omissions there, such as the family programs, family science, family math. All the other ones we feel can be done virtually or here. So we're fully committed to, even if we go fully remote at some point or something, that those activities still can be done. So we consciously looked at each one of those stipends to determine that. Moving forward, we might bring back some of those as well. If things change on the ground in the spring, everything's nice and hunky-dory, then possibly the family programs can run as they have in the past, where the parents and the kids come into the building and sit around tables together and do these activities.
So even if we don't have a play, the 2 plays or the 3 plays, we're still going to.
Yeah, so I got the opportunity to meet with the principals and the association, and in an attempt not to limit access to opportunities for kids, we talked about, even if we don't have a play, could we have a theater club or some
Okay.
type of drama activity? So these were the ones that cases for support were built around, and that I was comfortable
Okay.
recommending. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. At this time, can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion made by Mr. Ladati. I have a second by Dr. Panici. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Do you want me to do it?
I'll do it. I got it. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Public comments will now be accepted. The Board of Education sets the limit for the public to speak at the board meeting to 5 minutes per person unless prior permission has been granted by the Board of Education for extended time pursuant to Board of Education Bylaw 0167. Members of the public wishing to make a comment can do so by either emailing the board at publiccomments@kenilworthschools.com or by calling the Board of Education conference room at 908-931-9696, extension 2325. Comments will be taken in the order, or in this following order: phone calls, in-person comments, emails, and for the record, please include your name and address in all comment requests. So we'll start with phone calls.
Okay, and just for the record, at the moment, there is no public here in the room, so at this point, it's phone calls and email.
I think the last time I checked, there were 22 people watching.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Triple digits last meeting.
Oh, there was?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
No emails. Yeah.
Well, I make a motion, we go to, hearing no phone calls, I make a motion, we go to email.
There are no emails, and there's no public here. So,
Okay. All right, how, we given it?
Yeah, we've
Okay.
been over a minute.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion of the meeting. Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
All right, a motion made by Mr. Ladati, a second by Mr. Biner. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the meeting is closed for public comment. And our next item on the agenda is roll call of resolutions. Mr. Ganella.
Okay, you know what, I'm going to do that up here. Hear me? All right.
Steps.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so the first set of resolutions are finance and facilities resolutions, 1 through 10 on the agenda. Mr. Ladati?
I make a motion that the finance and facility resolutions be voted on.
Okay, Mr. Ladati made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Haberther seconded it. Okay, this is for resolutions 1 through 10 on the agenda. Biner?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
Drogan?
Yes.
Haberther? Yes. Jankowitz? Yes. Ladati?
Yes.
Panici?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Motion's carry. This is for personnel and management resolutions, 11 through 27, and number 32 on the agenda this evening. Mr. Haberther?
Through
27.
27 and 32 to be voted on.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, seconded by Mr. Jankowitz. Mr. Biner?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
Drogan?
Yes.
Haberther?
Yes.
Jankowitz? Yes. Ladati?
Yes.
Panici?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Motion's carried unanimously. This is for resolutions 28 through 30 on the agenda for curriculum and instruction. Mr. Biner?
Motion to move resolutions 28, 29, and 30.
Okay, is there a second? Mr. Jankowitz? Thank you. Okay, this is resolutions 28 through 30 on the agenda. Biner?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
Drogan?
Yes.
Haberther?
Yes.
Jankowitz? Ladati?
Yes.
Panici?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Motion's carried unanimously. And finally, resolution number 31 in policy. Ms. Braun?
I'd like to make a motion to move Resolution 31 for voting.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Mrs. Drogan? Okay, Biner?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes?
David?
Yes?
Haberthur?
Yes.
Jankowitz?
Yes.
Ladati?
Yes.
Panici?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Paulette.
Did I forget something?
Again.
What? Did I forget you?
You called me twice.
Oh, it's the muscle memory. It's the muscle memory. I'm sorry, Paulette. Paulette? Yes? Okay. All right.
We have items for executive session, I see.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so you're going to do an official resolution, or you just want to?
Yeah, we'll do official resolution.
Okay.
Be it resolved by the Board of Education that the Board of Education meet in private session, which public shall be excluded, to discuss the topics of litigation and attorney-client privilege, which private discussion is being held pursuant to Section 7B and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. The Board of Education is going into executive session to discuss the above matters, but will not be taking any further action this evening. The meeting will adjourn at the end of the executive session. However, this concludes the live stream portion of the meeting. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Second?
Okay. Mr. Jankowitz, and second by Mrs. Braun. Okay. And do a roll call, just so I get my muscle memory right. Braun. Biner. See?
Yes.
I already messed it up. You guys
Yes.
are testing me tonight. Biner.
Yes.
Braun.
Yes?
Drogan.
Yes.
Haberthur.
Yes.
Jankowitz.
Yes.
Ladati.
Yes.
Panici.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
It's good that I read.
Okay,
Thank
the
you.
board is in closed executive session.